Good afternoon, this is Mrs. Goodman again, and we are going to finish our sunflower painting today. And this shows you one that's finished that I did with all of our petals and leaves on there. So we're going to show you how to do that today. So to get started, you've got your paper that you've already painted your brown centers on. And some of you did some larger ones and some smaller ones. It's all going to work. Sometimes you might have one that's close to the edge, and I'll show you how to do that. And some of them might be like overlapping on top of each other, and that works too. So to get started, I'm going to give you a plate of paint that has some yellow and some kind of yellow orange that we can mix with the yellow after we do our first sunflower. With your brush, you got to remember to be really careful with your brush and not smash it. That will ruin these the hair of this brush. So you got to be careful with your brush. And we're going to keep quite a bit of paint on the brush as we paint. So you're going to dip first thing you're going to do is dip your brush into the yellow. Make sure there's quite a bit of paint on it and do your first petal. And in the pictures of the sunflowers, I think we saw that the petals were kind of pointed on the end. So I think I'll start with this sunflower that's kind of towards the middle, and I am going to paint my first petal. And to do that, kind of works best to do kind of a smile. We call it a smile, and then maybe a sad face, and put the two together and paint the middle. And you'll notice that, look at what happens to the yellow with the blue paper behind it. It looks kind of green, but when it dries, it will turn back to yellow, especially if you keep quite a bit of paint on your brush. So I'm going to go through and do this pretty quickly so you can see what happens with the next step. So I'm just kind of doing 2 curved brush strokes and then filling it in. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And when on your smaller sunflowers, you might be able to get by with just doing a brush stroke. Whoa, that looks like that might run into that other sunflower there because my brown was kind of close together. I'm going all the way around my sunflower. And your petals can touch and they can overlap a little bit. They'll work just fine. And boy, this sunflower petal's probably going to touch this one. So to make that maybe look different and stand out, I'm going to take a little bit of the orangey color and mix it with just part of the yellow. Not all of it, because the friends at my table might not want just one color to work with. If I mix this all together, then we don't have enough paint to make the different kinds of yellows that we need. So let's see if this works. I think it's going to work, because it's going to show up as a little bit different than the sunflower next to it. Sunflowers come in all kinds of colors of yellows, and some of them are even more red. Oh, this petal is going to go off the page. You're only going to see part of it, but I'm going to go ahead and paint it because they can be going off the page. And I don't have to, we're not going to rinse our brush. It's okay to go on to the next one with a little bit of color in there. My sunflower that's down in the corner down here is not even going to have some that show. We're going to have a table cover underneath so that we don't get the paint on the table. And we're going to finish my petals.